15% of the population lives in rural areas, 72% of the nation's land area. Rural families live long distance from one another. Children may travel long distances to school. Everyone appears to know each other. Values tend to be somewhat conservative as compared to other areas of the nation. Rural schools have a larger percentage of white and American Indian students due to the areas of the country. Poverty rate is slightly higher than in other districts. Schools are generally smaller than ones in cities, and city student-to-teacher ratio is lower. Rural students generally perform better on national achievement tests. Funding for rural schools, especially for those serving low-income families, is often inadequate and inequitable. Teacher shortages may result in staffing of schools by teachers with limited academic backgrounds in the subject areas that they teach. Not all courses can be offered because of a limited number of teachers. Principals may be assigned to several schools, and support services may be limited. Rural communities fight proposals for consolidating schools because of the long historical traditions associated with a particular school. Rural communities also worry about consolidating schools being so far away that they cannot actually participate in their child's and grandchildren's education, and they may be riding a bus for 1 or more hours each day. About half the U.S. population lives in the suburbs, which have become more diverse with families of color which have moved from the cities. The suburbs are becoming even more economically, racially, and ethnical, linguistical, and religiously diverse as new immigrants settle in them. High-tech companies have found the suburban ideals for their research and development software, electronics, and biotechnologies. Families may move from the cities to the suburbs to ensure that their children receive better education. Funding for schools for traditional been higher in the suburbs than in other areas. Wealthy suburbs boast beautiful school buildings, sometimes as sprawling campuses, with the latest technologies, qualifying teachers, advanced placement courses, gifted and talented programs, and numerous extracurricular activities. White suburban students will attend a school with a majority of white students, and African American and Hispanic suburbs that students attend, students of color will be the majority. Enrollment in suburban schools are on average higher than schools in other areas. Student-to-teacher ratio is also slightly higher in suburban schools at roughly 6.5 per teacher. Rural schools is more 15.5 and 16 for urban schools. Suburban students have outperformed their rural and urban counterparts on achievement tests, and safety is generally less of a concern for students, parents, and teachers. Urban areas are usually rich with education and entertainment resources like libraries, museums, theater, professional sports teams, college, and universities. People from different economic and cultural backgrounds intermingle in any part of the city. Many families live in safe environments with good schools, parks, recreational facilities, and others live in economically depressed environments that contribute to high incidence of asthma and other diseases. Upper middle class parents are more able to donate funds to assist their schools when teachers of art and music have been cut from the district's budget. Children are not learning at the expectation level. They can hire tutors. Low-income parents are actively engaged in their children's education. The proportion of upper middle class parents involved is higher. They talk with their children. They ensure that their children have the best teachers. They encourage their children to study and participate in extracurricular activities. They also keep a close eye on their children's performance. Low-income parents lack the same cultural capacity. Their income does not permit them to support school activities in the same ways as the wealthy class do.